Welcome to the Oxidized Podcast. I'm your host, Rusty Cook, and with me is my co-host, Sal Mendez. Sal, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty fine.
Just hanging in there?
Yeah, just pretty chill.
You were telling me before we got on that you were cleaning the house today, so I can imagine, that sounds super fun.
Yeah.
Having fun with it.
I mean, when you listen to Journey and cleaning the house, it's always fun.
It's always a journey when you listen to Journey.
It is.
Alrighty, so today I was thinking you and I could talk about maybe our top favorite video game franchises.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, we're both big gamers. Some of us, I would argue, to the point where it's like, maybe we should cut back a little bit. But who does that in this day and age?
Right.
But yeah, no. So I was thinking, maybe I would start with my, like, we'll start from 5 and move up, and so I'll maybe say mine, and then you can say yours, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about each of those franchises. You think you're ready?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. I'm actually a little curious before we get started if we ended up picking the same ones. Not exactly the same ones, but I imagine there's going to be there's a decent chance there's at least one or two overlaps.
Yeah.
Which is weird because, again, we don't really play a lot of the same games, but it could just, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. How about you go ahead and do your, you can go ahead and get started. What's your number 5?
So my number 5 game would be, well, I guess pretty much anything under Valve. Like, I kind of thought about the franchises, and I was just like, you know what, Valve in general as a franchise,
So, like the trifecta of Team Fortress, Portal, and Half-Life.
Yeah, pretty much everything under the orange box.
Okay, I mean, that's fair enough, I guess, especially considering I don't think Valve's really going to be making any sequels to any of those games anytime soon. So,
yeah.
But no, I would, especially, that's kind of the point of the orange boxes. It's all kind of a nice, neat little collection,
Yeah.
And definitely, like, I've only played 2 of the games on that list, and one of them I didn't even play for very long. I played Portal, both Portal and Portal 2. I enjoyed both a lot. And for me, you know me, I'm a big story-based gamer. Like, a gameplay is very important, of course, but, like, what really gets me invested is, like, the story.
Yeah.
And so for Portal especially, it's a really interesting story, apart from the first-person puzzle-solving gameplay, you have the whole idea of, the Aperture Science Corporation and Chell and GLaDOS and everything that goes into that. Yeah, definitely something I enjoy. What are your thoughts about it?
It's just I've been playing those games for so long, and they're all classic games. If you have PC and there's a Steam sale, there's no reason for you to not have them whatsoever. Because they're cheap, they're classic, and if you really want to test out your PC specs, you just pick a Valve game.
Yeah, I mean, and again, considering that they're they basically originate on Steam, like it's a Steam thing.
Yeah.
That's like that's Steve's claim. Not Steve. Steve. Could you imagine if that was the gaming platform? It's Steve.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But no, the Steam is definitely kind of the what's the word I'm looking for? The icons. The icons of Steam are, again, the orange box trifecta: Half-Life, Portal, and Team Fortress 2. And I know you love Team Fortress 2. That is like your go-to. I'm going to play a first-person multiplayer shooter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun to just mess around in that game. I mean, I have over 765 hours. There's probably people that have more than me, but it's definitely just one of those games where it's like, it's free. You download it, you play it, you have a good time, you kill your friends every once in a while, and then you move on.
Yeah, just something quick and easy to pick up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'm a big... 2 things really stick out for me when I play a game. Is the characters and the story. And for me, I only played Team Fortress a little bit, but, there's online, there's a million, Team Fortress videos.
Yeah.
Whether it be Source Filmmaker or Gary's Mod or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And just the amount of creativity that the people have had with those characters, even with the characterizations that they're already given in the game, is there is such a huge variety of, it's these mercenaries, and they you got all types, basically. You got all types. And it's definitely, like, for I don't know the characters as well as you do, of course. But like for me, I think my favorite, what are they? They're mercenaries, right?
Yes.
So my favorite mercenary, for me, I'm stuck between the medic or the spy.
The spy. I'm a little bit in between the scout and the soldier.
The scout and the soldier. Yeah, that tracks for you. That tracks for you. The scout and the soldier. Yeah, there's so many.
I love coming out of nowhere and just like hitting them from behind,
Yeah, so many quotable lines from all these characters too,
Yeah.
Like for me, like you know me in real life, like I'll do voices, and my impressions aren't the best, but I enjoy, like, those are always fun lines to mimic,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely very fun. And then you're very familiar with Half-Life, right?
Yes.
Which I know next to nothing about that game, so that would be more your field of expertise,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic game. I mean, it's the Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Half-Life Half-Life 1 or Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Half-Life Alyx. It's just like each and every one of those games we owe a lot to in terms of graphics and physics. Like without those games, we really wouldn't have what we have today, because they're kind of like the quote unquote pioneers of what it means to have um, a perfectly running game with all these new abilities, kind of like Half-Life Alyx. Because it was like when VR first came out, it's like, oh, there's only like a few VR games. You might have your Arizona Sunshine or your Climby VR Chat. Some pretty basic kind of low level VR titles. But then Half-Life Alyx is like the first uh main what do you call it, like it's like a triple A experience for VR, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I know you don't have a VR set by any means, but I know you've played Half-Life Alyx, because
Actually, I got one. I just got one not too long ago.
Oh, you just got it? I know you were talking about it, but I didn't know you had actually gone out and actually gotten it.
Yeah, we actually ended up getting it, like 2 or 3 days ago.
Oh, I'm excited now.
Yeah, it's an Oculus Quest 2, but I have it hooked up to my PC so I can use Steam off of the Quest. So it's pretty much just Quest is the headset, and then the rest of it, all the power comes from the PC.
Nice. Oh, yeah, that's going to be fun to use. I mean, again, we're friends in real life. We're not just, for the audience to know, we're not just like, oh yeah, we met on the internet and it's like, here, we're going to talk about stuff. It's like, no, we've been friends since high school. It's kind of, so, I'm excited to use that now.
Oh, I didn't say you can use it though.
Oh, you hurt my feelings, man.
I'm just
you raise me up and then you just crush me. What have I done to you to deserve this?
Everything.
Don't answer that. don't answer that. Yeah. Oh man. Well, still though, yeah, definitely a good choice for a number 5, especially. I mean, technically, I would say it's a little cheating, but considering it's the number 5 and they're all 3 relatively simple games,
they're all older games, so I was like, they all in a sense kind of have like their own playing field, because Valve, when you really think about it, Half-Life isn't necessarily its own franchise. TF2 is not its own franchise. I mean, yes, they're franchises, but I feel like Valve as a whole, with all of their games, they're kind of like all in one piece. They're all in the same engine. I feel like they take place in the same universe, kind of. So it's all kind of just like a flat kind of surface.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so moving on to the next one. So for my number 5, we'll do my number 5 next. My number 5, I'm gonna have to say, is it's Doom, the Doom series.
The Doom series is good. I like the Doom series.
Which I feel a little bad saying that's in my top 5, because I'm not like one of those people where it's like, oh yeah, I grew up playing Doom. I played the original. I played Doom 2, Doom 3. All that. Like I started with Doom 2016, and it was a very interesting time when I first got into Doom because I used to be a big Call of Duty player. I used to play a lot of multiplayer and things like that, and I had stopped playing first person shooter for a while because I was like, yeah, it's kind of getting a little boring. Gonna work into getting something else, and so I started to play Doom after watching our mutual friend Brian play it, and I was like, oh, you go and you kill demons, and this looks really good, and it looks really fluid and fun. So I played Doom 2016, and what's to go wrong with? You kill demons and you get cool guns, and there's all this awesome gory action that isn't like, me. I'm not a horror or a gory type person. Like I can't watch scary movies. I can't watch gory scary movies because I can't do it.
Yeah, he's got a weak
But
stomach.
yeah, but Doom is different. Doom isn't like, oh yeah, you're taking a person and ripping out their inside. It's like, oh no, it's a demon. He's trying to, wipe out people. It's okay.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack definitely helps. It's a lot easier to rip and tear when you have some heavy metal
Right.
going in the background. Yeah, but Doom 2016, I started with that one, and then I liked that one so much. Actually, I was already really excited for Doom Eternal. And I kind of went back and retroactively played through the first Doom or Doom 2. I tried Doom 3. I couldn't really do Doom 3 just because the way the game played, for me at least, was like a little weird. Like I could play it, but it made me a little nauseous. Why, I don't know. But I went back and played Doom and Doom 2, and I enjoyed those. And then Doom Eternal came out, and that's there at the time of us recording this, I think Doom Eternal just announced. I think it's this coming Monday. They're going to do the reveal trailer for DLC 2, basically. So they're still in the process of doing that game, but I really enjoyed the main story. I love the weapons. The music was phenomenal. Just everything about that series, and they actually Doom Eternal especially kind of added a personality to the Slayer, and like a lot about his origin and his backstory and what happened with the demons and a million other things.
Yeah.
Basically tying in all of the previous Doom games as well. And it's definitely something that I am enjoying a lot. And I know you've watched me play a little bit. And I know you finished. I remember when Doom Eternal came out, you were still playing Doom 2016, and then you were thinking about getting Doom Eternal. Or I think I might have told you can borrow it because I have it on PS4.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, which, again, you want to borrow that sometime, please let me know. I want you to enjoy that game. It's great.
Okay.
But yeah, no, definitely they gave the Doom Slayer a kind of a humor to him. Like, definitely much more of a personality. The amount of memes alone that came out of Doom Eternal especially were phenomenal. You can't just shoot a hole into the side of Mars.
He just does it. He doesn't even care. He doesn't even say anything. He just does it.
Local angry man blows up Mars. Oh man, but yeah,
I think the Doomslayer is the embodiment of Florida Man. Florida Man blows a hole in the side of Mars.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man, what's your experience with Doom though? Because I imagine you probably, again, you had access to a much wider range of games when you were younger versus what I had.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your experience with the Doom series? Prior to Doom 2016.
I mean, I used to play Doom back when I was a little kid on a Windows 95, and I mean, I used to play Wolfenstein and Doom, and those were the only really mature games I had back then. I mean, my parents really didn't see them to be too dangerous or too violent. I mean, like at the time, I was like what 11, 12 at the time. So it was my parents kind of knew that I was like I know the difference between what is right and wrong and violence and all that stuff. So they let me play those games, and I had a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's just a simple run and gun arcade shooter, all the way up till Doom 64, I believe, and uh, I don't know. I just always loved Doom. Just ripping and tearing, going through the levels. Just kind of, I always see Doom as more of just a chill run and gun, get through the level, shut your brain off, murder the demons. Do God's work. Doing my part as a Catholic man. So
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing though. Doom Eternal, especially the Doom Slayer, doesn't seem to care about any gods. He is
yeah,
he is actively against everybody
yeah, pretty much.
except humanity, which is like, I'm down for that. Let's do it.
Why not?
Especially since like the what are they called? The I can't remember the name of it. The angel like species from Doom Eternal. I know that they're led by the makers. That's right. The con maker and then the maker species. It was basically supposed to be, heaven. And it's like, oh no, it turns out they're actually also evil. And so he's again just rip and tear until it's done.
Right.
I actually remember when Doom Eternal came out this last year, and that was right when the pandemic was starting, and it got delayed so that it was coming out on the same day as Animal Crossing New Horizons, which was another game I really enjoyed. But the amount of memes that came out of that, and especially the cultural impact that whole thing had, the both the public crossovers, like with all the stuff that people made, art videos, like they do on the internet.
Yeah.
And I think the companies themselves actually even acknowledged, at least Bethesda did. I don't know if Nintendo did, but I know that Bethesda was like, oh yeah, we should add Isabel into Doom Eternal.
Right.
Or something to that effect, which is like, everybody's like, yeah, we know you can't do it, but yeah.
Nintendo wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah.
A boy can dream.
Yeah, that's what mods are for.
One of these days.
One of these. Oh, I guarantee somebody did it like within. If I had to guess, probably a week within the game being out.
Most likely.
Like I haven't really looked into it, but I imagine that it's already been done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the Doom series. Looking forward to the new DLC that's coming out. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Doom. Rip and tear, heavy
Yep.
metal, all that fun stuff. What about all right, I think that's your turn. Is that your turn now?
Yeah, number 4.
Yeah.
So mine would be the Mass Effect series, except Andromeda. Um,
Just from what I understand, again, I'm not familiar with Mass Effect, but from what I understand, we don't talk about Andromeda.
yeah, Andromeda was not a very fun or good game.
It was the ugly duckling of the Mass Effect series.
Definitely. It definitely had some promise, but flopped in the end. But I say Mass Effect series as in 1, 2, and 3, because those will always have a soft spot in my heart, because they're open world, I mean open universe game where everything that you do actually matters, and what you do in the first affects the second and the third game. Granted, the third game did have that weird ending where nothing actually mattered, but they fixed it in the end. They later on fixed it, which I can appreciate. Um, but I mean, like it was essentially No Man's Sky before No Man's Sky. It was the game. Everybody wanted Mass Effect because it was an open world, open universe adventure game with different alien species, and you fight monsters and other alien soldiers and stuff like that. Like, it's just a lot of fun, and it's an RPG. Like, what's not to love here?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not really familiar with the Mass Effect series, but I have heard pretty much everything you just said about the game before, and it's something I'm thinking about getting into because it's not really, it's not really a scary game. It's just kind of like it's in space and it's like an epic
Yeah,
kind
it's
of.
it's an epic.
Yeah, which if I recall, unless I'm thinking of the wrong game, aren't they doing a remake of the first Mass Effect
No,
for?
they're doing a remaster of all 3 of them.
Oh, are they doing a remaster of all 3?
They're doing a remaster of all 3. Fingers crossed that EA doesn't get too much into it, because this was because Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 was when EA at the time was okay, but EA has definitely kind of gone down in their quality. So I'm just kind of hoping that it's a good remake. All I'm asking is for like the same exact game. I mean, if you want to do some adjustments and make things quality of life, that's totally fine. But as long as EA doesn't get their fingers too deep in the muscles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you like don't change what the game fundamentally is.
Yeah,
Which honestly, like, you know, if the collection or what, I'm assuming they're doing it as a collection, right?
it's a collection.
Okay, yeah. If they do it as a collection, like I'll probably pick it up and give it a try. Um, something I'm definitely looking forward to trying. I always want to try new games, you know. I don't
Mhm.
always get the option because you know you got to pay bills and stuff, and it's like, oh, I can't afford it, but I want to, but I can't
Yeah,
afford it. And then you know you stand out. Well, in this day and age, you can't really stand outside the window and look inside and stare at stuff anymore. But you know, you scroll on the internet and you're like, oh, I want to buy it, but I can't.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'll probably look into getting it at some point. What's your favorite part about the Mass Effect series? Like, what would you say is, and you know, but whatever it is, you know, favorite character, favorite plot line, favorite, you know, whatever.
My favorite character is Rex. I mean, he's just a hard-headed frog man. You essentially try to get in his way, and he'll beat the crap out of you without any problem.
That sounds like a
Um,
character you would vibe with very well.
yes.
That sounds exactly like you.
I mean, you give the boy a shotgun, and he can just tear through everybody. Although my second favorite character is Garrus because you can build him in a way where he just maximizes assault rifles, gets armor piercing rounds, and I think if I remember, there was like a shield. I think it was like an EMP bullet or something like that. Like it had the effect of an EMP. It would go through shields and it would do more damage against shields. And you can essentially just not play the game. You can just have it so Garrus just runs around murdering everybody, and then you just sit there happily and not get hurt. Uh, but I just love the RPG elements. The simple fact that like you have how many is it? I want to say I think it's more than like 8 characters. Um, but you get Talizora, Garrus, Rex, Edie. You know, you get a huge collection of characters, and you can build them however you want, depending on what world you go to. It can actually affect well, like what characters you're using. So like your characters won't just stand there and be mute the entire time. Your party members will engage in the conversation and could make it easier or harder for you to progress through the game. Uh, yeah, it's just this. It's just the whole RPG, like everything. Like it's just one big, huge odyssey, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And actually, as you were talking about it, I was thinking about it, and something tells me that you kind of wish that Star Fox was more like Mass Effect,
I
huh?
wish that there was a Star Fox kind of effect to that. Yeah,
Yeah, because I was thinking about it, and I know, like, I don't know if it's going to end up on this list. I mean, I guess we'll find out further down. You don't have to tell me now. Actually, I
yeah.
would prefer if you don't. But I know Star Fox is one of your things you grew up with, and you're big onto it. But lately, you know, they
There's just
Star
not much
Fox,
there.
yeah, Star Fox has withered, and it's now it's basically sitting in an alley somewhere, emaciated.
Exactly, pretty much. It's kind of
uh,
disappointing, but it's the facts.
it is, and you know, there's a we could probably do a whole podcast on like the abandoned Nintendo franchises.
Yeah, abused.
Not even I mean, some of them are abused, yeah, but look, more often or not, instead of abused, it's just abandoned. Like
Yeah,
Nintendo just dropped them off in the middle of the field one day and drove off. You know,
yeah.
which is sad. I laugh, but it's sad. Um, yeah. But yeah, Mass Effect though. Yeah, I've always heard you give it high praise. It seems very popular, so I'll have to give it a try at some point.
Yeah. What's your fourth?
So my number 4, and you can probably I'm kind of wondering actually before we continue. I'm kind of wondering if you're like trying to gauge what my list is. I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what your list is going forward.
Hmm.
We haven't discussed it prior to this, but I have a good-ish feeling of what your list is going forward. I don't know how well you've guessed mine or if you've even tried to, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So my number 4 is the Shantae series.
Oh, okay. The Shantae series.
Yeah, which you know, obviously a very indie series, but the writing for it's always very fun. I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, I play it for the plot, but it's really not that kind of game. It's weird because it makes it seem like it's that kind of game where it's, oh yeah, you play it for the plot, but it's not. It's hard to describe, but it has the kind of witty writing that I've always enjoyed. It's witty. It gets very meta sometimes. And the gameplay itself, like, it's a very simple, fun platformer. It's the game has its roots in the Metroidvania category, and that's something that I definitely enjoy. I've always liked, the abilities that Shantae gets and all of the magic powers she has, the transformations, everything about it.
I mean, it's just a fun platformer.
It is. Like
what's the type of Metroidvania? Platforming Metroidvania.
Yeah. Well, aren't Metroidvanias all platformers though? I mean, Castlevania is less that way, but the Metroid series I would definitely say is relatively heavy platformer.
It's a homunculus of both of them.
It is, which I guess is where the name Metroidvania comes from. Yeah. But yeah, I actually started. I had next to no idea what the Shantae series was. I'd heard good things about it, but I was actually at a convention. I think it was at one of the last PlayStation experiences they did. With, again, our friend Brian. I was with him, and I was at this table for limited run games, which they basically specialize in games that are normally digital. Limited run games will actually make those games physical, and you can buy them that way. And it's kind of it's almost like a collector's thing. And so I ended up I got a couple games at that booth, but that was one that looked interesting to me, and I'd heard a little bit about it before, and I was like, I'll give it a try. It was like $10-15, I think. So it was like, that's not a lot. And I played it, and I really enjoyed it. And that was back when they were still doing the pixel style, the sprites for I think it was Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. And that one, I actually didn't know a lot about it. I was like, oh, this is different from what I'd heard, because previously, the Shantae's whole thing is it's magic, and she can transform and stuff like that. But apparently prior to that game, she had like lost her magic somehow. And so this game was basically about her trying to get her magic back, but she didn't know. It's weird. But you end up using all this pirate equipment. Either way, though, I really enjoyed the platforming. Again, the writing is, it kind of covers all bases. It can be witty. It can be, it can get you right in the feels when it needs to. And the artwork and the bosses can be very intimidating, and the artwork is just amazing. The music's also fun too.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic. Like, it's not just like a movie score, like something you can just blow over. Like, it's kind of like a Zelda or Banjo-Kazooie. Like, you listen to the song and you can be like, that's from it.
Oh, absolutely. And they always really seem to try and push for, at least for a lot of the game anyway, they try to push for almost like I don't want to say Saddle Arabia, because I don't think that's right, but like almost kind of like an Arabian, that's what I'm thinking of, Arabian Nights.
Yeah,
they kind of go for that kind of vibe, and it's very unique. I've enjoyed a lot of the songs from it, and I think you played one of them. I think you maybe played one of the Shantae games at some point at my behest.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm using that right, but we'll find out.
Right. Someone in the comments will tell us whether or not.
You're like, oh yeah, you behest me actually means this.
Yeah.
But I think which one did you play?
The not Pirate's Curse. The one where it's like it was drawn. All of it was drawn. The one before Siren. What was it called?
Half Genie Hero.
Half Genie Hero. That's what it was.
Yeah, that was their first transition to, like you said, drawn animation. Except all the backgrounds were 3D.
Yeah.
But all the characters, and it was almost like it was almost Paper Mario-esque, but like different. Like it had that kind of 2D versus 3D kind of transition, but it wasn't like how Paper Mario does it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game was very fun. I think that was the only one that kind of broke away from the Metroidvania style a little bit. And then, yeah, you mentioned the Seven Sirens game. That one actually, I think, went back to the Metroidvania roots. And that one came out. I actually got the collector's edition for that one, and that one, I had to wait months and months for it, and I was super excited when I finally got it, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think I got, I it was weird because I bought what the limited run games did the collector's edition, and they on the website they called it the Mega Bundle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically I got the collector's edition for both the Switch and the PS4. And each collector's edition came with 2 copies of the game, one in a steelbook case and one in the regular case. So I had 4 copies of the game. Which I think
that's right. Huh? And then you gave me one of them. I actually have one.
I was going to say, I think I gave you one, which I'm guessing, you're always so busy and I'm always busy. So I'm guessing you probably haven't played it yet. But
I have it. It's in the Switch. I just haven't been able to play it.
Yeah, I think you should give it a try.
No, I will. It's definitely one of my what do you call it when everything's done? Moving in and all that jazz.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And work.
Always work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know me. I work 2 jobs, so it's like I'm always busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoy the Shantae series. Music's fun, characters are fun. Yeah, just something I really enjoy. I'm an artist, and honestly, some of these series, like I'm thinking about it as we're talking about these series, and I'm like, I need to go draw stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like drawing maybe now in the middle of the podcast isn't the best idea.
Right.
Yeah, I'd probably be a little distracted.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. All right, and so I think that's your turn again. Going to your, I think we're on number 3 now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do another little cheat here, and I'm gonna say because I find that it's just because they're in the same kind of genre, and they both kind of had the same effect on me. And it would be the Dead Space and Resident Evil series.
I'll be honest, I expected Resident Evil to be up higher on the list.
Yeah, I wanted to go for the third. I definitely wanted to go for the third on that one.
Yeah, well, I also know that you've had your ups and downs with the Resident Evil series, so I guess that kind of makes sense now that I think about it.
But Resident Evil 2 Remake, definitely the best. 3 could have been a little bit more, but I don't want to get too much into the whole aspects of 3 and like what could have been done and that kind of thing. But even if and then Resident Evil 3 was still a fantastic product. Maybe not exactly worth $40, maybe a deep sale kind of game, but still a fun game nonetheless. But it's just Resident Evil as a series, as just Resident Evil and Dead Space are 2 of my favorite horror titles because they get horror just right, and the fact that it's also aliens or just mutations, monsters, things that are just they can peel your face off with their pinky toe if they got close enough.
Yeah, like things that you encounter in nightmares, and you're like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I'm good.
I'm a huge sucker for zombies, aliens, gore, and just horror in general.
Yeah, you're big on the way I would describe your interest is biological horror.
Yeah, anything that just rips and just shreds and looks like all your muscles are exposed, intestines, horrific zombies that throw up at like miles and at like 1,000 miles per hour. Just the lickers, the slashers, the ubermorphs, the pukers, the hunters. Just all of them just always excite me. It's also like the evolution. It's just like what if or evolution or just biological constitution, where it's just like, what if we took a lizard, a man, and a frog, and then put them together, and then there you go, we get the hunters. Or what was another good one? Or like the monkeys, where they try to make monkeys pretty much just like the zombies, and so they put them in a dungeon and just lock them away. It's just genetic testing, I guess, is always something that it's like in video games that always interests me.
It's actually kind of funny because my next one on the list, and we're not going to get to it just yet, but my next one on the list actually also involves like kind of that experimentation, like, oh, let's see what happens if we can do this, or let's try and do this. It kind of features that. which
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if that's, again, if you can try and figure out what that is based on that. But if you do, don't say it.
Okay.
And one that speaking of the whole biological thing, yeah, Resident Evil is a good one. Mass Effect is definitely a good one for that as well. One that I imagine is not on your list, but would probably be on your honorable mentions list is probably the Prototype series.
Yeah, the Prototype would definitely be on that scale.
Yeah, like Prototype is definitely within that realm of biological, mutations and things like that,
Yeah.
which I know is, again, like you just described, something you're really like into.
Yeah. It's just been forever since they've made a game, so
Yeah, it has. One of those dead series.
yeah.
Which actually I would consider. So for me, your whole thing is like you like the biology and like all of the mutations and things like that. For me, I am like I like characters with unique powers. Like that's always my thing, superpowers or things like that. So I would say, like, in the terms of honorable mentions, my equivalent to Prototype would probably be the Infamous series.
Yeah.
Like almost exactly, because I think they both came out around the same time. They both more or less had the same gameplay.
Mhm.
And the story was relatively similar-ish. They were like brothers almost. They were like weird brothers, like stepbrothers. They were like video game stepbrothers.
Yeah, pretty much. That's at least what we saw it as. They both kind of came out around the same time. I had a 360, he had a PS3. He played Infamous, I played Prototype. It was, to us, it was always like a fight of who would, early middle school, like my hero can beat up your hero kind of thing.
Those, honestly, we're both grown adults. Those arguments and debates are still fun. I love
They're always
talking
so
about
fun.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, we could do a whole podcast about just like, oh, who do you think would win? Cole McGrath from Infamous or Alex Mercer from Prototype.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are always fun. But back to Resident Evil. Yeah, so you know me. Like I said previously, like 20 minutes ago, I can't do horror games. I can't do it. I bought Resident Evil 2 and I tried it. And I think I streamed it for you to watch. And I was running screaming.
He got slapped by Mr. X and then ran away.
No, yeah,
he cried.
The scary tall man in the trench coat. I can't do it.
He can't handle men that are bigger than him.
Oh my god, Mr. X.
Yeah.
And honestly though, the memes again that come out of, like,
not just the memes, but just the simple mods for Mr. X is just fantastic.
What was I was watching one the other day where it wasn't a mod, but I think it was a glitch, and the person glitched so there were two Mr. X's.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, don't do that. You don't do that.
It should be illegal.
Yeah, no. Although I imagine for you though, like, one of the things that maybe as a little kid gave you kind of PTSD was, you hear the stars.
Yeah. From Nemesis.
Oh, Nemesis and his, yeah. Like, could you imagine though? Like, I used to do that. Like, if it was something scary and I was little, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this thing could attack me in real life or something because you're little and you don't know better.
Yeah.
And like, for me, that would have been my thing where it's like I'm laying in bed at night and I'm like half asleep and I think I hear like from outside like stars.
Yeah.
And you're like, nope, I can't sleep now.
Not anymore. What's your third?
So for my number 3 is going to be the Call of Duty Zombies, but specifically the Treyarch Zombies story.
Yeah.
So basically, World at War, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, and then Black Ops 4. And I think now it's actually moving on into Black Ops Cold War, kind of. It mostly ended in Black Ops 4. Like, for all intents and purposes, it ended in Black Ops 4. But that's something that I've really enjoyed. That's something I've always actually liked from even back when I used to play Call of Duty. I don't play the multiplayer anymore, but I still love, like, today I still download new custom maps for Black Ops 3 Zombies on my computer. Just everything about it, the characters, the crazy German Dr. Richthofen, the drunk Russian Nikolai, the, standard kind of United States Marine Tank Dempsey, and then the honorable Japanese soldier, Takeo. Um, fun personalities to play with, fun voices to emulate, especially. And I could never do, what those voice actors do, but it's always fun to try a little bit. Like, oh yeah, Dempsey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Um, I used to do that so much better when I was younger. My voice was higher, but now it's like not as high, and to me, it still sounds the same, but I don't think it sounds the same to everybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, those characters are fun, and every map you always had a new, really cool, like kind of the same thing with Doom, where it has like the really cool music to kill stuff too. It's kind of the same thing. They would always have like a metal song for unique to each map that was composed and done and all that fun stuff. And you got cool. I mean, obviously, killing zombies is like, you just mow them down in the game, but all the other stuff you can do, like the unique weapons, especially like the the ray gun, the Wunderwaffe,
the
the
thunder
thunder
gun.
gun, yeah, thunder gun, and they've had a million more. But I always thought those were really cool, really fun to use. It's just like it's a gun that shoots lightning. Like,
It's
what's not to
lightning in a
like?
bottle.
It's literally lightning in a bottle, and the fact that it didn't just shoot lightning, but it changed to more zombies after you hit the first one, or the thunder gun. It ragdolls them.
Yeah.
Just sends them flying. I was playing with my friend Bo the other day, and I was like, I never get tired of this. He goes, get tired of what? I just shoot the zombies. They all go flying across the map. One of them lands right next to him. He's like, oh,
Just thanks.
yeah. Never gets old. The story, especially, like, it's a very convoluted story. Like, you look on YouTube, and there are people who can explain the whole story, but it takes them like an hour.
Yeah.
And that's usually condensing it. That's not getting into all the nitty gritty detail. And this all came out of a side mode for the original World at War, and it just grew into this ginormous cyst that started to get its own job and had its own income.
A child.
pretty much, yeah. That's the thing, though, is like it. I say a tumor because it's almost like a tumor that started out as a tumor, but then it became what do you call it? A Siamese twin?
Yeah.
Or yeah, and it had to be removed. And then it grew up and became like a like not a millionaire. I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't care about the zombies, and it's like, oh yeah, I just play for the multiplayer,
Yeah.
or for the campaign or whatever. But I always thought the story was really interesting. It's the idea of, oh, what if the Nazis created zombies and used this mysterious radioactive space element to make weapons and teleporters and all this fun stuff. And it's it's definitely very, very interesting. It does get a lot more convoluted later on. It started out very simple and it got more convoluted as the games went on, but it was still something very fun to follow. And I always enjoy playing it. I still listen to the map songs because they're real bangers, especially the early ones.
Yeah.
Like, they're still bangers. I still love listening to them every once in a while. I'll be driving to work and I'll be like, you know what? I need something that's high energy. I'm going to, listen to it,
Right.
And then you and I have played a little bit, not nearly to the extent that me and my friend Boa have, but, you and I have played as well.
Yeah. I mean, once we both got PlayStation 4s and we started replaying a lot of the older maps too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember those days.
Oh man, honestly,
Back
we
in
should
high
do that.
school.
Like, dude, if it gets on sale, buy Black Ops 3, and we can download all the custom maps and play it because there's a ton of cool stuff.
Oh yeah, for PC.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's mostly what Bo and I have been playing lately. Is we'll play a lot of the custom maps, which there are some really good ones. Like, there are people who I downloaded the mod tools for Black Ops 3 recently, and I can't figure out how to do it. I don't have the technical know-how. I'm gonna try, but I don't have, I think, the technical know-how to go and make that. But there are some people who do some amazing stuff that's like even more intricate than what they do in the original maps.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Okay, so now it's time for my number 2.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So my number 2 is Warhammer Total War Warhammer, to be specific. It is
Total War Warhammer.
Total War Warhammer. So the ones that are like with the Lizard Man, the Dark Elves, the Elves, all those guys. I'm newer to the series. I know it's gonna sound weird why it's my number two. Even though I'm kind of a noob to the series, I have over, let's see how many hours do I have in Warhammer 2. 670 hours into Warhammer 2. Uh, I think it's just a fun strategy game, and then you have so many different races and so many different heroes and lords and stuff, where they all have like their own personalities and own little memes and things like that. Uh, but you just get to control hordes and hordes of units. Like if you wanna be a rat man and have a Gatling gun or a flamethrower, why not? If you want to be a lizard man and just bash people in with sticks and stones, do it. If you want to summon hellfire from the skies using nothing but the hellfire storm rockets as the Empire, the Germans, just do it. Why not? Or you just
It's,
want to just crush everybody under your foot with Gork's foot, with the greenskins. I mean, who doesn't love Dagobos?
it sounds like D&D on steroids.
It's pretty much D&D on steroids, yes.
Which, I mean, I feel like that's a little hypocritical for us to say, considering neither of us have ever actually played D&D.
Yeah.
We're getting there, though.
We're start getting into that here.
Yeah, our friend group is kind of supposed to start playing that at some point.
Yeah.
When that will be, I don't know, but I have my character made and I'm excited.
Me too.
But yeah, no, and you showed me a little bit of Warhammer. I think one of the last times we hung out.
Yeah,
and,
that was Vermintide.
Oh, okay. And again, I don't know a lot about the series. I know that from what I understand, there's quite a few subdivisions of the Warhammer series.
Yeah, it's there's like the 40K, there's the then there's the actual like Rome or historical Warhammer, and I think there's one more that I'm probably missing. But like I said, I'm a noob to the Warhammer series. Uh, so I just started not too long ago, so don't start choking me out here over it. But my first game was literally Warhammer 2, and then started playing or got into Warhammer Vermintide because Ratmen. Who doesn't like Ratmen? Um, but yeah, there's plenty more. I'm thinking about getting into the other ones and seeing what they're like and stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, I knew when you were talking about the previous ones, like I know some about Mass Effect. I know some about Dead Space. I know actually next to nothing about Warhammer.
Did I.
My experience is very minimal, but it must be pretty good if you went ahead and put it as your number two. Like I'll take your word for it. You know,
Yeah.
We've known each other for a long time. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's just even I was kind of like okay, I've never heard of this game before, but I see screenshots, and I was like, there's lizard people, like there's lizard people riding dinosaurs, like okay, I'm kind of into that. Like, let's do this. Like, I'm gonna put a dinosaur man on top of a dinosaur, and then destroy an entire nation using nothing but dinosaurs. Because you can just do that. Because why not?
Isn't that? I mean, this is a way different series, but isn't that almost the premise of Ark?
In a way,
like can't you do that
but
in Ark? You can like
why ride a dinosaur when you can be the dinosaur riding a dinosaur?
This is very true. You
Yeah.
make a fair point, sir.
But it's just the many different lores, the many different races, the the heroes' personalities. Like my favorite one is Ikit Claw because he's just um he's like Putin or the essentially China, the rat. He's just like, oh yeah, there's bad guys over there. I'm just gonna push this button and everybody go boom. He just sends a nuclear bomb of plague and pestilence and everybody goes. Pfft.
Oh god.
Yeah.
The rats.
The rat men.
Yeah, I think the game you showed me was kind of like medieval. So I was thinking about it and I was like, "Oh, it's the rat plague. I get it."
Yeah. And then, you have the vampire counts, you have the Tomb Kings, like the Egyptians. Like, there's a little bit for everyone in this game. Like, if you like the idea of lizard people, rat people, elves, dark elves, pirate vampires. I mean, I really didn't even think like, okay, vampire pirates. Like, who would have thought of that? But it's in there. You want vampire pirates? Do it. You want to be a chaos devil worshiper? Do it. You want to be a bone-headed Nordic man that just runs in with war mammoths? Do it. Why not? Just it's pretty much just like if there's a race or if there's like a thing that you like, it's there for you.
Yeah,
Dwarves,
it
yeah,
seems like a very versatile series, and it seems to cover quite a few different genres. Because I know there's some some Warhammer that's like futuristic. There's some that's medieval. So
yeah,
it seems to kind of cover quite a bit of ground from what I understand.
yeah. They take it's kind of like it's all one universe, sort of.
Sort of. It's one of
Yeah,
those games where it's like they're connected, kind of.
yeah,
What
loosely. At
like
least
what's
I think so. Like I said, I'm a beginner, so I think they're loosely connected. They could be possibly not be connected at all, but I'm just throwing out my own headcanon there.
that sounds exactly like what most people would know about the Final Fantasy series.
Yeah,
You're
pretty
like,
much.
oh, I heard they're all kind of maybe connected. I'm
Sort
not
of. I
sure.
don't know. Maybe.
I
Yeah.
know that they're in Kingdom Hearts. I think. I don't know. See, that would be your area. I didn't play Kingdom Hearts, but you
Yeah.
would. Although Kingdom Hearts, from what I understand, is basically just Final Fantasy, but it's Disney.
Yeah. Or
It's
it's Disney licensed Final Fantasy.
no, it's just Disney's Final Fantasy. Like you know how
Yeah.
they have Disney's Marvel now. It's Disney's Final Fantasy.
Exactly.
Uh,
All right. So what's your second?
so for my number two and my number one, it was on the surface a tough choice, but I had to think about it, and I was like, okay, in my heart, I know which one is which. My number two is Sonic the Hedgehog, a
Sonic the
series that
Hedgehog.
you and I are both very familiar with Sonic.
Yeah. I grew up on Sonic when I was younger.
As did I. Something we both grew up with, and actually both played most of the games. You've probably played a couple more than I have, but again, that was more due to console limitations
Yeah.
on my part. But we both pretty much grew up with Sonic, and you know, again, the Sonic series has a lot of what's the word? Con-
Nooks
it,
or kinks.
there's a lot of contention behind it.
Kinks looks both ways.
You didn't see anything. But yeah, the Sonic series,
Interpret
it's
it
a
as you
mixed
will.
bag. So the Sonic series is definitely a mixed bag. You know, you get some good games that people will, you know, stand until the day they die.
Mhm.
You get other ones where they're just okay, and you get ones that are outright bad. And you know, at this point, I think I've told you this before, but at this point, it's less about liking what Sonic Team themselves put out, and I'm more of a fan of the idea of Sonic.
Yeah.
Like the idea, like the Sonic as a series has so much potential. And again, we could probably do multiple podcasts just about either the
Just
things
the
Sega could
potential of it.
yeah, just the potential like game ideas, what Sega could do to fix. Even not even give them ideas of like what to do storyline wise. Because from what I understand, I think Sega specifically will refuse to use fan ideas for games. Like
Yeah.
they'll let fans make games themselves and not shut them down like Nintendo will. But at the same time, I think Sega does not actually like they refuse to take fan ideas.
Yeah, or fan inspiration
Yeah.
or
Um
critique, I guess.
Yeah, which I mean is like they don't seem to be doing too well themselves, but you know,
Yeah.
that's on them, I guess. But yeah, I love the idea of Sonic. It has such a wide variety of characters to choose from. You know, there's each with their own abilities, especially. You know, you got Sonic, the fast guy. You got Tails, the flying, and he's smart and he can do tech. You got Knuckles, he can dig, he can glide and punch really hard. You got Amy, who has sometimes you know, Amy's known for the hammer, but she has like other abilities that she only uses like once or twice.
Yeah, and like the adventure series.
Yeah, or like I think in Sonic 06 she could turn invisible,
Oh, that's
which is
right.
like where does that come from?
Yeah.
Or I think way back in Sonic CD it was mentioned that she could read tarot cards to like see the future or something.
I don't remember that.
That was it was something I don't think it was used in gameplay. I think it was just kind of talked about. But I think it was like, oh, that's how she always finds Sonic because she reads her tarot cards.
Hmm. That's actually kind of new to me. I mean, I haven't really been paying attention to Sonic for quite a while, so I probably forgot a lot of things.
Yeah, and but that said though, like again, so many different characters, so many iconic games and soundtracks. Green Hill Zone alone is just you. That's like on the same level as like, oh, you play the Mario theme, somebody's gonna know it. You play Green Hill Zone, more than likely, even if somebody doesn't know where it's from, they'll probably recognize it.
Yeah.
And I know the Sonic movie came out this last year, the beginning of this last terrible year. And it was actually like, everybody expected the Sonic movie to be bad, and then it wasn't like it was groundbreaking, but it was just like, oh, it was actually like a not bad video game movie.
Right.
I remember even you were skeptical, and I was like, no, we're gonna go to the theater and watch it, because I had already watched it, and you were like, I don't know if I want to go see it. I was like, I will buy your ticket and I will take you to go see it.
And it was a fun film. I hope that the second one adds to it a little bit more.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that Paramount knows what they have. They know what they have now, and they know what the people like.
Yeah.
And so I get the feeling they're still gonna do right by it. But
How about we end it on, okay, what was your favorite Sonic? Like favorite iteration or version? Like my favorite was the Sonic CD, Sonic OVA. Like if I think of Sonic, that's the Sonic I want, and that's the Sonic that I like and I enjoy.
so kind of that classic Sonic, but he's still cocky.
Like
Like
the anime, like the anime Sonic. Like even with Sonic Mania, like
well,
kind of his
okay,
design too.
well, okay. Here, are you talking about the portrayal
CD.
of Sonic as a character, or are you talking about like the art style?
The art style and the character.
Oh, okay. So, okay. I don't know. I do like that kind of classic kind of style Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
What's your kind of like? How do you envision Sonic?
when I think of Sonic, the Sonic that I see and hear in my head when I think like, oh, what if there was this? I always think of a mixture between. I mean, it's the modern style, so just the way modern Sonic looks.
Yeah.
In general, but it's a mixture between the Sonic X portrayal and how he was in Unleashed.
Yeah.
Like to me, those are like my perfect melding of what I consider to be quintessential Sonic.
Yeah, me too. I liked Sonic Unleashed. That was my favorite one.
It was such a good game, and then people were like, "Oh, the Werehog." But
The Werehog.
like,
I mean, but like, not gonna lie though, the Werehog was kind of like yeah, it's not Sonic, and I totally agree with that. Like, it's just not Sonic. It's kind of weird. But was it fun though? And it kind of was.
I thought those sections were fun, and people were complaining about it's like, oh yeah, this isn't what Sonic does. But if you take the Werehog gameplay and you give it to Knuckles,
you have something there.
Exactly.
There's something there.
Just put Knuckles in a beat 'em up.
Exactly. Like there's just something there.
Yeah. Like they have the potential.
They have the potential. They always do. So how about our number one?
Like me. I could go on for hours. Talking about Sonic, but we'll leave it at that for there. Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about Sonic another day for another thing. So, what's your number one?
My number one all-time favorite franchise is the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. It's a fantastic horror game. The jump scares are great. It kickstarted YouTube. Practically like just gave YouTubers the all their money on a silver platter. I'm lying, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't have video on. No. We don't have video on, but I get the feeling you know exactly what look I'm giving you.
Yeah, I could feel the daggers in my spine.
Do they hurt, Sal? Do the daggers from my eyes hurt? No, I hope they do.
My favorite franchise of all time would be the Starcraft series. It's the game that I grew up on. I had it for the Nintendo 64. I doubt anybody even knew that there was a Nintendo 64 version of it, but there was. I played the hell out of that. And then I played the PC version, and then I got the remake, so I pretty much bought that game 3 times. I've played them.
What is it, Minecraft?
Kind of. No, I'm just kidding. But it's just like, it has all three of my favorite just kind of genres where it's like you have the aliens that can mutate people and they're monsters. You have the aliens that are like sophisticated and smart and have like super technologies. And then you have the gun ho just humans, it's just like, oh, well, if there's a battle cruiser or if there's an aircraft carrier, well, I'm just gonna use a Thor. I'm just gonna put bigger guns on a robot and then shoot them. Like it's just as simple as that. Or building a siege tank, like especially the siege tanks. I love the siege tanks. The fact that they're tanks that transform into artillery pieces. That's fantastic. But my favorite race out of all three of them is the Zerg. I just, especially when it came to StarCraft 2 and how the Zerg was more, they were more inclined to infestation, where they'll like mutate people and turn them into like swarms of zombies, and I just lost it. I love that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a bad gamer saying this. Maybe I am a bad gamer. I don't know, but I also know next to nothing about StarCraft. All I know about StarCraft, other than the few things you've told me, but just from proxy, from being your friend, what I know about StarCraft is you must construct additional pylons.
You must construct additional pylons and not enough minerals.
I think
you don't have the minerals, dude.
I think that's the problem with any of those real-time strategy games, though, is you always I think that's probably
you just never have enough.
You never do.
You never have enough.
Like even me playing the only top-down, or not top-down, but real-life strategy game I've ever played is, I don't even know if this technically counts, but the Tropico games.
No, those count.
Yeah, and I totally get that, where it's like, oh yeah, I don't have enough corn to start exporting. You
don't have enough corn.
it's
corn. You gotta start getting corny.
StarCraft, and you don't do that. You can't. StarCraft. You've shown me, especially a few games and of other people played, and you showed me some animations as well. And honestly, it seems like a really fun series. I don't know if it's one that I would play, just because I'm not super big on the real time strategy genre.
Yeah, he doesn't play too many RTSs.
Yeah, but it definitely does seem in like something that's up your alley. And that was one I was considering to be within your top 2. It was either that or I was gonna guess Fallout.
Yeah,
because I know
you would be wrong, but I like Fallout New Vegas mostly.
Oh yeah. But I know you love the Fallout series.
Yeah.
But yeah, StarCraft though. Yeah, just it seems like a fun game from what you showed me. Very fun.
Yeah. All right. So then, what's your number 1?
So for my number 1, really quick, actually, I'm gonna do a couple. I'm just gonna throw in a few honorable mentions. At least one of which I've already mentioned.
My favorite.
Infamous.
My honorable mention is Gex.
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 We, in this day and age, we need Gex back in our lives.
We need Gex.
Please bring back Gex in all of his pop culture glory.
Yes.
The Infamous series,
Infamous.
something that when I got a PS3 was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I really you saw me really get into the Gravity Rush series, which is
Gravity Rush.
Most of mine, admittedly, most of my favorite game series are actually PlayStation exclusives. I was just thinking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. But Gravity Rush is a not very well known PlayStation title, where basically you play as this girl and you can control gravity. I mean, like the gameplay. It's just very fun writing. Dark Souls is another one.
Yeah.
I did not think I would be into Dark Souls until I started playing it. I was like, oh, this is actually really fun.
Yeah.
And
my another one of mine is Neopets.
Salvador, please tell me, how many Neopets have you gone through now?
Don't worry about it.
They're just all in a box buried in your backyard. The Dark Souls, I really liked Uncharted. Uncharted is always very fun. Naughty Dog always nails doing games. And then speaking of Naughty Dog, also The Last of Us. And this one's going to be a little controversial because, nobody liked The Last of Us 2 and whatever. We don't really need to get into that, but I enjoyed the games. I thought they were fun. I thought they were, very story heavy, which is right up my alley.
Yeah.
So is ones I enjoyed. But my number one video game franchise of all time is Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. I never would have guessed.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but let's be honest. We both knew that was going to be at the top of my list.
Yeah.
Crash, I'm a huge Sonic fan. I actually, I can draw decently well. I can draw Sonic like it's nothing. It takes me 5 seconds to draw Sonic. I feel bad because I can't draw Crash. It makes me sad. He is for me. He is hard to draw.
Not even the modern version.
Even the modern version, his body shape is so weird. But the Crash series as a whole, I grew up with it. It was what I had mostly growing up, so that's probably a lot of it. But it's a fun, zany series, and that's who I am. I'm the zany guy in our friend group. I'm the bizarre, whatever, and that totally tracks for me. I love Crash Bandicoot. Grew up with the originals.
Is definitely a word I would use.
But yeah, grew up with Crash. Grew up with the original games. I think there's not a Crash game I haven't played, actually. I think that's the one where it's like I've played everyone. I may not have beaten everyone, but I've probably played every single Crash game.
Yeah.
Played the original, played CTR, played the original trilogy. Played the original trilogy, played CTR, played Crash Bash on the PS1 when, Crash Bandicoot was also trying to get in on the Mario Party game.
Right.
Which Crash Bash did pretty uniquely for that. I played all the racing games, CTR, Nitro Kart, Tag Team Racing. Twinsanity was one of my favorite games growing up. Like if I were stuck on an island with only one game to play for the rest of my life, it would either be Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped or Crash Twinsanity.
Yeah.
Like both just fun game. Like Crash Warped is more fun than wacky, but Crash Twinsanity is I love both those games to death, and the characters are timeless. You got really interesting bosses. You got Crash. You got his sister. You got Crunch. It's such a huge variety of characters, a lot of which aren't really touched on, but they still feel fun.
Yeah.
And then
an excellent choice of words.
Yeah, you know how and you know how I was when the Insane trilogy was announced.
Yeah.
Like I was rabid with
his
excitement.
Body was ready.
my body was Reggie.
Yeah.
I was so ready for that. I was actually at the PlayStation experience I was talking about earlier. I was at that when they announced that they were doing the Insane trilogy, and I was freaking out. Oh, I was so excited. And then a few years later, they announced CTR Nitro Fueled. And that was phenomenal. It was beautiful, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then they announced Crash 4. It's about time. And
it sure is about time.
it darn is. It is about time. And they really tried to flesh out the characters and everything in that game, and I loved it. I could go on for hours about Crash, but I just love the Crash series. Everything about it. There's even the bad games are they're still kind of fun in their own way.
Yeah.
So yeah, Crash Bandicoot, my number one. Makes me sad because I can't draw him, but he's still my number one. He's my orange boy. May the mustache man shake in fear.
Yeah. Hey there, mustache man, lumber boy.
God, those commercials back in the day.
3D environments. Borrow, my arm's tired. I flew in for the new ruins level.
Oh man. Well, yeah. I love the Crash Bandicoot series. I could, literally talk about it all day.
If you buy our Pizza Hut pizzas, you can get a free Crash Bandicoot level.
Oh,
I can't remember how it went, but I remember that they had.
It was something like that. It was like, you get a cheat code for one of the Crash games or something. It was bizarre, but it was, yeah. We should probably stop it there because I You know me. I could go on for hours.
Right.
I could just talk and talk about Crash Bandicoot.
So time to wrap it up then.
It is. I feel like we had a pretty good list there, though. That was a good list.
Yeah.
Definitely a pretty well-rounded list, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a little bit of platforming, a little bit of shooters, a little bit of everything, a little bit of horror, a little bit of lighthearted stuff.
Yeah. No, just for the comic section though, because I'll just be like, why isn't like Zelda a part of their favorites or Pokemon or something? It's just like, guys, come on, who doesn't like that stuff? Like, come on.
I mean, again,
Like,
our
it's a
first
default.
our first podcast was about the Diamond and Pearl remakes, so it's, you know, we both like those things, but
So
it's like these are the ones where it's like, I want to play this all the time.
Yeah, so don't. I'm just saying though, it's just like, oh, he doesn't like Zelda. Like, no, it's kind of a given. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah. So wrapping that up then, Sal. Sal, where can people find you out on the internet?
You can find me on YouTube under Salvador Mendez. It'll be a picture of my cat looking very disappointed.
He always
it's a black and white, very disappointed cat.
Did you do something?
No.
What did you do to disappoint him?
I might have hidden away the catnip.
Oh, now see, you don't do that to a good boy.
I might have put it on top of the refrigerator.
He's a cat. He can jump.
He's a fat cat, sir.
Ah,
he can't jump that high.
that would be the kicker.
I wouldn't call it a jump, but more like a yeet. He just throws himself.
he just lands. He's just like, oh, okay, I'll be over here now.
Yeah.
As for myself, you can actually find me on Twitter at MegaArtist923. That was Mega Artist with 2 A's in the middle. I hope that's not too confusing. And then you can also find me on the same tag name on Tumblr as well. I try to post art there, trying to do more of the art lately. Because it's something I enjoy doing. I just, you know, you get home after, especially like I told you, I work 2 jobs. So you get home and it's like, I'm tired. I don't have the energy to draw. But yeah, you can find me there. You can also find us here on Oxidized, the Oxidized Podcast here on YouTube, where we will be trying to post every week. If you guys have anything you want us to talk about, or you have any questions, let us know in the comments. We will do our best to answer them or talk about, you know, something that maybe you guys want us to talk about. So I feel like that's a good place to end that, Sal. You have any final thoughts for the day? Any profound ideas that have struck you?
No.
head empty, no thoughts.
I'll say welcome to Oxidized Podcast. I love you.
We love each other here. Not romantically.
Not you.
No.
The viewers.
We love the viewers.
You ugly.
Wow. You're right.
You ain't got the drip.
That's okay. I'm fine without the drip. We don't need the drip.
All right, dude.
All right. We'll see you guys next time here on the Oxidized Podcast.
Peace.